Hey folks, Danky here. This is the last movie in our series of Feasting with the Fireflies. It's Three from Hell, Rob Zombie's last film with these characters. So, without further ado, time for our feature presentation. So,
No, oh, now they can.
if you guys are wondering, I was just saying how much I appreciate this motherfucker for letting me dive into these movies. Now, before we get into Three from Hell, I do not know if you've ever seen the movie of it's another Rob Zombie film. I just hope Wikipedia doesn't crash this. I hate this. I like how my actual computer, like my computer has it, or my phone has it. Discography. The Haunted World of El Super Bisto. Have you seen that movie?
No, never even heard of it.
Okay, it is a animated film, and in this film, at the end of the movie, you have
Go down for a second.
like I was gonna say, you have Captain Spaulding and Otis Driftwood as animated characters.
I was kind of referring to the very bottom one there.
Oh, yeah, archive footage of
Oh, the worst man in history.
So this is what they look like. They're not in the
Damn.
movie that long. This
Oh, I've
this is
seen. Yeah,
what this is one of those movies where it's not a film for kids. Like there's nothing animated about this film that I would suggest people watching. I do think if you want just a movie to just like what you look at a movie just to kind of put on, chill out with, it is a great animated film. And Rob Zombie, well, one of his first things he did direct was that Beavis and Butthead scene in the desert in the film. Beavis and Butthead Do America. Um, my second favorite thing is raunchy cartoons. Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, South Park. I have a South Park tattoo, so I'm on the belief is either everything's okay or nothing's okay. Like that's how I kind of see comedy. Everything should be on the table. You can't take anything off the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, feelings will get hurt, but the main reason for comedy is it goes together with tragedy, and that's where you could find like, yeah, it's kind of tragic, but look on the funny side. You know? So, Three from Hell. After 14 years, I guess it would be 13 years, Rob Zombie decides to go back to the Fireflies and to get one more sequel out of them. Now, to begin with, this film, I believe, is one of Sid Haig's last films. Just prior to the film, this is being reshot. Zombie and Sid actually met. Zombie, seeing how sick Haig was, had to completely rewrite his lines, his stuff. I think it says something about that in here. A lot of my critical thing of this movie is it was very similar to Devil's Rejects. So many scenes, it's like I've already seen it. But let's go into the plot of it. Uh, it opens on the last shot you see of them, but it's not Freebird that's playing. Uh, it's revealed that all three of them survived the shootout with police, and they were actually tried for their crimes. Um, in a lot of actual killer trials, you get these lunatics that kind of side with bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the what's his name? Midnight.
Midnight Wolfman.
Not Midnight Wolfman. The Midnight Stalker had a lot of crushes. I put it in there. So. We have another case.
I was just checking to make sure they were empty.
Oh, okay, cool. So you have a lot of people that find these murderers attractive. In fact, I think both Mencia's brothers have wives. It's a power dynamic that women have with serial killers. They find them to be. Well, they wouldn't hurt me if I loved them. But going back, so they're admired the same way how I know this because I know a lot of people are fans of Charles Manson. Like you have him where some fandom where you have Axl Rose wearing a Manson t-shirt. You have Marilyn Manson naming himself after Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson. You know, you have a lot of those kind of similar stuff. Even these movies have glorified some killers along the way. We've talked about the Bender family. We talked about John Wayne Gacy. We talked about the Manson family. So these guys are like numerous fanatics adopt the chant "Free the Three." A lot of people saw their crimes to be a fight against the system. I don't know how, but I guess. Uh, Despite all this, three were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. In addition to the final verdict, Captain Spaulding is executed via lethal injection. There's his one scene where he looks sick. He looks so sick. If I would have filmed this movie, I would have made it that just Baby and Otis survived the gunfire. There was a way to write that out. Then there's a scene I don't like because you have this guy who's on death row and he's taken out for yard duty. Now, I don't know about you, but I've read a lot of Reddit posts, and people who are this dangerous don't get let out of the prison. This is how Otis does escape. His brother, Winslow, Foxy Coltrane, I think he's known as the Midnight Wolfman.
Yep.
Shows up to help Otis escape from the prison while he's outside doing work in a chain gang. In the process, Otis kills Rondo, who was on the chain gang after having been arrested for some time after the ending of the previous film.
Now, Rondo, just a reminder, Rondo was Danny Trejo in the last film, one of the bounty hunters.
Of the Unholy Two.
The Unholy Twins.
Meanwhile, Baby unsexually seeks parole. Her mental state in this film, my wife has said, she's got a lot crazier. But I do want to point out this film is set 10 years after The Devil's Rejects.
So this was in the 80s. Did they say what year specifically?
88. What you do is the first film was shot in 1977, Halloween. You then go 7 months, and then times 10, so 1978. So
It would be
19,
like June of '88.
yeah.
So
Uh,
one thing that's still like, because that's weird, because it still seems very '70s ish, in my opinion, especially with the warden of the prison.
yep.
So I just had to get that in there.
Well, you gotta also know that the state they're in, they have a town called Rugsville, Texas. So if you go down to Texas, there's a lot of people still kind of rocking that kind of jive. Um, he would not like. I know this because I am this. I on to a lot of stuff when I'm like from when I was 18 to 22, where I liked what I liked and that was it. I liked Slayer. I liked playing bass, so I liked smoking weed, so I kind of just stayed in that aura. Um, he could have found that he was digging the 70s lifestyle and all that stuff and just decided, hey, I want to do this.
That's fair.
Maybe if this film was shot earlier, we could argue 1979, but they had to explain the age gap with their stars.
Yeah.
Where if you look at Captain Spaulding, again, I love Captain Spaulding. I'm wearing a Captain Spaulding t-shirt right now. But I do have to be honest when I'm doing this podcast, because I hope that you guys expect honesty from us, or if not honesty, our opinion. And our opinions can be wrong. Not likely, but they can be wrong. But going back to the parole hearing, Baby has not progressed in these 10 years being trapped in a cage. She has, she I think might be killed out in this movie. Um, she kills 3 other prisoners. She kills what happens is, you see Baby's state just deteriorating. And he does attack the one guard. She forces her into a cage with 3 other prisoners. She doesn't say who did anything. Which was the guard that put them all in there? Who is who? Might have been 2 prisoners. But then what happens is after that, the warden goes home. And both Midnight Wolf and Driftwood have their significant others tied down. They tie them down. And then for a fucking weird ass reason, a clown shows up.
Okay, so just because it's just before that, they were coming up with the plan with how they were going to try to get Firefly out of the prison. And during the scene, they were bickering because Foxy, he's just be like, they're calling me the Midnight Wolf Man, and then they're trying to like say like, oh, I'm John Wayne, or I'm the main character. Then Otis is like, the fuck you are, I am.
I'm public enemy #1, bitch.
So I love that.
I do love how Otis is eating beans. Like, are these the best beans ever? He's like, no, it's going to take a while for you to get that prison junk out of your system.
Yeah, and I love this because it really shows like.
Oh, there's another scene after you're done, because I did skip over another scene.
Yeah, and like I like this because it shows that they're family. Like they seem like brothers actually arguing. Like, I'm the main character. I'm public enemy #1. I'm the Midnight Wolf Man. Like they're just bickering like brothers do.
And then the next scene you see them, he's just kind of sleeping, and then these 2 people come up. I think they misname him too. It's like, no, I'm the Midnight Wolf Man, and all that stuff. Like, he's trying to get that, like, I'm this guy, I'm important. Which, I think some people. What's up?
No, I just trying to. I think I know what scene that we're at right now.
So, I think some people don't like him because he's trying to like, I'm just as important, and a lot of us is like, you're just important. Where were you in the last two films? Again,
People didn't like him because Sid Haig wasn't in the whole movie, and they thought that he was going to replace them.
like I said again, if Rufus would have survived the gunshots and been in critical condition, and Rufus was the one that got him out somehow, and you had both of them, I think it would have been more okay. Well, you're coming back to the okay now, but since at the end of Devil's Rejects, you wanted to have all these characters killed off. Plus, Rufus was kind of similar to Otis in a lot of ways. Anyways, they catch Midnight Wolfman, and all of a sudden, they're trying to decide what to do with him when the husband's skull explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And Otis looks at the Midnight Wolfman and is like, "Are you crying?" And he's like rubbing his eyes, like, "No, I got fucking skull fragments in my eyes." Now, the cool thing is, the woman Otis chops up is actually his wife. IRL Bill Mosley's wife. And basically, what happens after that is where we'll get back to with the whole clown thing. Now, the thing with the clown is he walks into a house and then Otis pulls a gun at him, and they basically said, if you can make us laugh, or make me laugh, I'll let you go.
And at what point did Otis say, like, I fucking hate clowns?
The whole time around here, like...
I can't remember if it was, like, in the beginning, because it was funny. Otis is in those fucking overalls, and it's like, who the fuck is that? He's pointing the gun at the warden and the guests. And then here's the rebel's like, who the fuck is that? Goes over. It's like, well, who the hell are you? It's just like, well, I'm a clown. You know shit.
Yeah. And so they basically torture the clown. Clown doesn't get them to laugh, and then Otis pulls the gun at him. Then the clown fucking wets himself.
Yeah, because they made the... Otis said that if you can make us laugh, we'll let you go.
And then he's like, oh shit, you made me laugh. So I can go?
No, fucking Wolfman, he goes, little fucker pissed himself. And then that's where Otis bursts out laughing, like, fuck, you made me laugh. And this, I think, was the funniest scene in the whole movie.
Oh, so I can go? Yeah, you can go straight to clown heaven.
Ran the fucking noggin.
So, the one thing that had me kind of being like, the warden should have been kind of more of a actual, because it feels like there's almost two films. Like, there's not a long kind of thing. I think what really ticked me off is as soon as the warden gets let loose and gets sent to go pick baby up, he could have at any point said, hey, my family's being kept hostage. This person's being kept hostage. There's only two people in the house with guns. Like, I guess you cannot ask your horror protagonists to be smart. There's a whole movie franchise called Scary Movie pointing out flaws in horror films. So he doesn't go and get help. He goes back to the prison. Baby kills the guard that's been giving her shit after she gets back, and then she's just wearing a police uniform. Because she's like, oh, get baby to come to my office. And then
there's a line of coke.
She comes back. He says a couple minutes, and then he shows her the note. She's like, oh, you really fucked yourself this time, didn't you? My brother's got you pinned over something right now. You're fucked or something like that. And then the one guard comes in. The man needs to know where baby is. Baby's behind her, and then starts choking her out. And then they go back. He's like, "Oh, piece of shit, really did it." Uh, Otis and Foxy decide to eliminate loose ends and kill all the hostages, as well as Harper. Now untied, the three are undecided as to what to do next, but eventually, we're missing a couple scenes here. The Wikipedia is not giving me exactly what needs to be stated, but these guys go to another hotel. They do a couple lines from the first movie. And Otis is like, "I'm so goddamn tired." "Well, you can help out with the driving, right?" And then Fox is like, "Nah, man. I got night vision. I can't see at night." And I just found it so funny because I watched all three of these films almost together, and it's like, oh, he's repeating lines from the first film, which is why sometimes I do have to disagree with Austin here about these three films being very different. When Zombie writes stuff like that inside the movies, connecting some lines to the first, it's hard to say that these are separate movies. Otis and Foxy are then seen. Well, Baby gets out of the car to get a hotel room. Then she's bored on the bed as Otis and Foxy are playing cards. Something I want to do with you backstage for our matches.
I have my poker set. I've been wanting to do cards.
Not even just like, okay, well, like gin or something or whatever. Playing like low cut rummy or something.
It's something, but anyways, back to you.
Yeah. They're playing cards. Baby goes out to go get a drink. Ends up killing a guy.
He's in a costume.
Steals his costume. He's like, "We can go to Mexico." Which for me, I'm kind of checked out at this point. And it's just because this wasn't the film I was wanting. They go to Mexico. They go to another brothel. They're not recognized except for the owner, who then calls Rondo's son. So it's another kind of Charlie giving them up to something else. So I did forget to mention Baby did pick up a Native American headdress and a bow and arrow, which Sherry Moon actually took time to learn how to do archery.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, so you get another kind of shootout when these guys arrive. And then Otis goes and talks to the guy that gave them up. And he kills them. And then he notices that Baby and Foxy are captured. There's some really good kills. I do have to say Baby probably has beaten Otis in kills for this movie. By a lot. Like,
unless there's more off-screen kills.
I hate the fucking off-screen kills. Show it, don't imply it. Horror film, show it, don't imply it. And yeah, so Otis basically squares off in a machete fight. There is a little guy. I don't know the correct term. I'm only saying this because I feel like with our one friend Bruce, I have the right to say what they are without really, because what do you call his style of wrestling? Midget wrestling. So there's a little midget. And I'll say this. No, it's not anywhere close to the N-word, because if they had midgets instead of slaves, the cotton would have been easier to pick. I'll say that one joke before we get canceled.
This didn't last long.
Yeah, this didn't last long. Otis just did a midget joke. But no, I don't think of people less because I call giants giants. I call little people midgets because you know who else are little people? Kids. Kids are little people.
Apparently, there is a difference between a little person and a midget. Because I actually know. Oh God.
Well, there's a handful of terms, and I think what's more important is there's a little person who becomes friends with Baby. He then goes while Otis is squaring off. He goes and silently frees both Baby and Foxy. This enrages Aquarius, distracting his men in the knife fight, allowing Otis to gain the upper hand. Baby and Foxy manage to overpower them. However, Sebastian and Sean killed. Film ends with the three intimidating Aquarius for waiting until he does this like blink thing and he breaks. And then they steal another line from Devil's Rejects where it's like, fuck you. And it's like that's what they always say before setting him on fire and then walking off.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think this movie was good up until the point where they got to Mexico. And then that turned into like a gang versus gang type of thing. But the other gang, or the main gang, was the serial killers.
I think the other thing that this movie was really missing. The first one had it. The second one had it. But the third one did not.
What's that?
A continual villain. A villain from the first scene of the film all the way to the end. The first film, you can argue, the Firefly Family, Dr. Satan, is the MacGuffin, is the thing that keeps everything going, is the thing that starts the film and ends the film. They're told about Dr. Satan in the ride. They go looking for Dr. Satan. They come across these guys. They eventually meet Dr. Satan. We eventually, as an audience, meet Dr. Satan. Second film had the cop. So the entire thing is a cat and mouse chase throughout Texas, trying to find these guys and trying to go on. But the cop is the guy after them. This film, they almost had to make sure they can get Danny Trejo back so that Otis could kill him on camera. So they have something to tie it to. Like I said, if they would have went for the warden being the guy all the way through the film, it would have been a lot better because you have a continual story. But what happens is, as soon as they kill them and get them out of the picture, that's when the whole movie flips to them on the run and then them going to Mexico.
But then that's kind of brings in more of a realistic approach to it. It's just like anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, them going to Mexico, I don't disagree with that.
It just could have been done in a better way.
I think if you would have introduced the cartel sooner and had a couple scenes where they're talking about this in Mexico, where it's like, I'm sorry to tell you, Aquarius, but your father has passed on. And then Aquarius seeing the footage and getting upset, maybe he shoots the TV and he's like, I want to hit out on that motherfucker.
Ooh, that would have been really good.
And instead of that couple coming in, you actually have cartel members tracking them down. And then them not knowing what to do if this is like, maybe these are some kind of super statesmen coming in. and then fleeing to Mexico without thinking they're going into a trap. That could have been a lot better than introducing secondary villains
Like the
30
last
minutes.
30 minutes before the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Did you feel that the Three from Hell were actually going to lose that battle?
No, if they can survive 39 bullets at the start of the film, I think, again, they should have killed Spaulding off with that so it looked like these were more human. With all three of them surviving, you're wondering how many doses of lethal injection did Spaulding make? His last words also were, "Give my love to my friends and family." We mentioned before, but that is a Ted Bundy line.
Mm-hmm.
Rob likes to incorporate real-life killers into his movies, such as Arthur Fleck? No.
Albert Fish.
Albert Fish and Ed Gein. Man, I was really close. I had the initials.
You were really close.
He has them in the start. He has these guys filming scenes like the Manson family did in his basement. They have like corpses all over the place, as what was described when they found Ed Gein. You know, final breakdown of this movie.
I like it better than I really do like this film, don't get me wrong, but well, I like the first one, but I think this movie is better than the first one. I don't know,
I'm fighting what I'm saying.
Because the way I would rate this from worst to best, like, it's definitely not a bad. None of these films were terrible.
No. I also want to say that too.
Like, the way I would rate them from from worst to best would be 1, 3, 2. 2 would be my favorite of the series.
Yeah, I think 2 is my favorite. It's a time capsule to go back to the first film. To see how Rob Zombie changed up his directorial style to going back and watching the first movie. There is like a handful of Rob Zombie movies that I know I love. Devil's Rejects, El Superbeasto, Halloween. We're on opposite ends with that Halloween remake. I love it for another reason, more for how they develop Michael as a kid and all that stuff. So,
and I like it for how brutal it is.
Yeah. But going back to these films, how he directed his other films, you go back to House of Thousand Corpses. It's its own style, and it's a style that I have greatly appreciated within time. But going to what I was saying before, my list would have to be from worst to best. Again, not worst. Free from Hell, House of Thousand Corpses, and Devil's Rejects. There's a lot of reasons for 3 not being my favorite. One of it is I feel that if I were to have made the film, people would have called it a Devil's Reject rip-off. These two films go better together than the first 2 films, 2 and 3. I was lucky enough to watch it back to back on my terrifying Tuesdays that I kind of do by myself, just to kind of like, hey, what are we doing for the podcast? Well, we're doing this. Well, I'm going to make sure I actually know what the fuck I'm saying when I'm going over this stuff, because that is an important thing.
I also do want to apologize on my part. I know there have been 2 times, I think, that I wasn't able to come on the podcast just because of, like, road conditions or just a crappy schedule. This past last week, I wasn't able to come out to Dankeys to record, because of road conditions. Because I live about, I'd say from your place to my place is like 25 minutes, depending on road conditions. So it's not that far, but I was snowed in. I got a dinky two-wheel, front-wheel drive car, and there's no way I was going to make it up.
It is a good thing because we still have that until dawn that we're doing together. We decided that it wasn't going to be fair if I made a horror list of like 6 movies and Austin's only filling 3 in.
Yeah.
They would have been the top 3, but
yeah, because we were supposed to do
top 10 horror Christmas movies.
Yeah, and I've only had 4 on my list.
Yeah, and I was trying to be like, you should just put that Bill Goldberg movie on your list. You should just put Santa Sleighs on your list, and it's not really.
That would just been in there by default instead of an actual rated film.
Yeah, mine would have been Inside. Inside. There's a new one I just watched today called Anna and the Apocalypse. That one was pretty fun. But it's also hard for our us saying which film, because I spent a lot of time watching movies. Austin doesn't spend nearly as much time.
I got so many people want me to do stuff.
And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna watch this new one called The Beast, or The Battle of the Beast, or something like that. For that Christmas one, I was going to be honest, most of the movies would have been movies I just recently watched too. Because I looked at your list, I'm like, whoa,
Our movies were like I think I only have one movie that you didn't have on your list.
Nope, all 4 of your movies.
Really, all 4?
All 4. Jack Frost was the only one I can tell a funny story about.
Yeah.
My grandpa rented the wrong Jack Frost movie, and we got fucking scared. So I actually have a lot of. I hated the sequel.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But like Krampus, I was kind of wanting to talk about Krampus. Like I had a different Christmas horror to talk about it. I was going to actually line it up with your Krampus movie, so we had both Krampus movies.
Yep.
But Inside, Christmas Horror, Anna the Apocalypse. I was going to put this as number 5 and argue for it. Nightmare Before Christmas. I was going to be like, if we don't put this on our top 10 Christmas horror films, and I know some people, Halloween's not a horror film. It has elements of horror. It has creatures. It's a creature, if you want to be honest about it. It has someone kidnapping fucking Santa Claus and sending him to the boogeyman. I do hate how catchy all those songs are, though. What's this? What's this?
The fuck is in the air? You know, funny thing, I've never seen The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'll time down and watch it one of these times.
I was supposed, if I didn't come over tonight, me and the roommates were going to watch it tonight, but
good movie.
Do this instead. Let's go.
So, that is the end of Feasting with the Fireflies.
So, what would you rate this series altogether out of 5?
Altogether, oof, that last movie really takes a star away. But it's got those flaws that I've already talked about. Stuff. Maybe not completely, because there's some really good scenes in it. Oh, we didn't do the final kill count.
Oh, that's right too. I actually think I have this. I'm not even memorizing. I'm just going to.
I think Baby wins by a lot.
And for this one film or altogether?
This one film.
Okay. Let's see. We will start off with, who is this? I want to say. 1 second. This is Otis's kill count is 24 kills in this film. Yeah, it says 24. And then for Baby Firefly. What do you think she's got?
Well, with Otis with 24, I'd hope she would have like 25.
She's only at 10.
Yeah, because of the gunfighting and all that stuff.
Francisco, unnamed Black Saint henchman, unnamed Black. Apparently, she's only killed 4 of the henchmen.
Oh, damn.
But then Otis, he killed like 7 unnamed prisoners or convicts.
Right, that was off screen.
But then look at this. It says shot by Winslow Foxworth and Otis B. Driftwood. So how do we know who killed who?
Yeah.
So this isn't even accurate.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like you can count the bodies, but you would have to split the bodies up.
Yeah. So for the whole series overall, Baby Firefly has 25 kills. She comes in last with the least amount of kills. Captain Spaulding with 42 kills. A majority of them were off screen because we only seen him kill, 2 people on screen?
Just 2 people.
So that's 40 kills off screen.
Yeah.
And then Otis Driftwood, how many kills do you think he has?
73.
78.
So I wonder if we would actually count how many people were actually killed.
We gotta do an actual death count.
Yeah, on-screen death counts. What did I say for the first one? Like 4.5 for Otis?
Yes.
4.5? Because he kills the 2 cop. No, 2.5. Because it was so low for this first one. Because I'm like, oh, Captain Spaulding almost has the same number of kills.
Right.
And then I think I counted the one chick at the start, Angela Sullivan. And then we weren't counting the motel chick. So I think Otis would have 7 kills up until the third one. Then he kind of ramps it up. Now, Rondo, if you actually see that death, the husband, he kind of leaves the wife alone. He kills the clown. Then he kills, I'm going to say 2 of the people. And then it's hard because it's the flash mob we don't really want to count. So
no.
I'm going to say I'm counting around 19, 20 kills for Otis. But Baby in this film, let's be honest, she kills like 3 people before she's even out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
So she kills like 3. Spaulding kills 0 people. Kind of hard for him to kill anyone. 3 people. Then she knifes down that one girl outside with grandma. And then she kills. So with Baby, her kill count would be around 7 to 8.
No, I'd argue 7 to 10.
Yeah, 7 to 10.
Then Spaulding only had the 2.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's supposed to be House of 1,000 Corpses. They're missing at least 980 some kills. 970.
Well, I mean, you saw those corpses in the second movie in the beginning.
Yeah.
Where it was a legit, a house built of corpses in the basement.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's not much left to say. Series.
You still have to give us a rating.
For all of them?
The whole series out of 5.
Oh, 4.5.
4.5. I am going to go a bit lower. I'm going to go 3. I want to say 3.25.
3.25?
Yeah. I think it's just because the first film with how the parts that Rob Zombie wishes he would have done different, that kind of went down. I wish there was something that connected the first movie to the second movie so it would show that it's actually connected.
Yeah.
And then the second film, I thought that was really good, except I don't understand why Tiny went back into the house while it was burning. It kind of felt weird with the change of who the good guy, who you were cheering for. I understand that's what Rob Zombie was going for, but it didn't feel natural to me.
Well, I like I said, I think it's just when two heels are on the same side, and then one heel turns on the other heel. The other heel is seen as a proxy baby face.
Yeah, so
It's one of those weird. Even people have complained about this movie has made that connection. Like I did talk about how my old teacher basically denied, like, you shouldn't watch this film because, like, there's no active good guy in these films, and anyone with an ounce of good in them end up dying.
hmm
And yeah, that's just the thing about these films. Like, there's no active good guy in these films.
yeah, and I was very confused. And then I went from hating them to cheering for them, and then the third movie I went from hating them to loving and hoping that they would live at the end and stay in Mexico. So, but that felt a bit more natural to me because that's when it seemed like heel versus heel.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of give it on the lowest mark. I was going to say either 3.75 or 3.25, but I'm sticking with 3.25.
I think the second movie, how it just kickstarted my. Because I'll be honest, there's a point where I do say Meadow is what got me into horror films, and there's no one else that got me more into horror films than this movie itself. Like I remember in 2007 putting this movie in for the first time and being blown away with how gritty and off the chain this film was. And I know that this film let me watch other horror films after that where was it, 2006? One of those times. But I went from wanting to watch all the horror films that I could get my hands on, which was hard at that time because you still had Blockbuster and all those stores open, or the bowling alley open, or small town rented movies. And there would be so many times where you'd have to make sure you got the old lady renting you movies than the old man, because the old man would be like, no, you're not 18, you can't rent this movie. So, um, I do think when I got this DVD, I immediately ran it by DVD player or PlayStation 2 at the time. That one right there. You can actually see my first PlayStation 2.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I remember playing a bunch of games on the PlayStation 2. It's mainly the Crash Bandicoot racing games.
But I'm not surprised with your non-love for the first film. The first film for me is what really gave it that extra couple stars. Third film's what really made me almost say a 4 star.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that doesn't have a central villain. I think if you would have had something at the start after Rondo dies with his son seeking a vendetta or something like that,
That would have been a lot better.
it would have played more to this. But again, like we said before, I am not an active filmmaker. I do not know how many times some scripts have to get changed, some scenes have to get cut. And I do see why you put the first movie so low. I do see the odd camera cuts, the weird ass scenes, um, the kind of filmmaking he was going for looked more like a music video. I understand, but for me, that film, I can pop that film in and just it's almost like my comfort watch.
Hmm. Did I ever tell you the order and why I watched this series in the order I did? So, me being so into wrestling, I would always have this favorite wrestler of the month or a certain amount of time I would be obsessed with one wrestler. And for me at the time, I was going through like a year and a half long phase of just DDP being my all-time favorite wrestler.
That's
And
not a bad favorite wrestler.
no, and so he actually inspired me to come out to my very first entrance theme song, which was "Rocky Like a Hurricane" by Scorpions. But anyways, I was looking up like DDP movies and was like, oh, movies that DDP is in. I watched a bunch of these movies, and the first one I watched was the 40-Year-Old Virgin, thinking like, DDP isn't this? I watched the whole movie going like, he's not in this. And then I read on like IMDb that he was like his scene was cut. Someone was like, oh shit. So then I watched The Devil's Rejects first. I'm just like, oh shit, there's DDP. And then I'm just like, that was a good movie. And then I found out that House of Thousand Corpses was the first movie. I'm just like, oh fuck.
Oh no.
Watch that one. Watch the second one again. And then the Three from Hell came out.
No, but his ex Kimberly is in it. You get to see her boobing.
Ooh. First appearance from Rob. There you are, brother.
Yeah. Oh, you just missed one hell of a podcast.
God, we've been doing this for about 3 hours now.
Something like that.
But yeah, because I got here short, like 7:30, 2.5.
I might split this up for a couple episodes for our actual podcast that goes on YouTube.
I'd say cut into 3, one for each.
Cut it three.
Yeah.
Feasting with Fireflies Part 1. Plus a Thousand Corpses.
Mm-hmm.
Gruesome Twosome presents. But yeah, going back to DDP.
Oh shit, it's 3 hours.
Yep.
My God. But yeah, so DDP was the one that got me into watching this series.
It's so hard starting with the second one, then going back to the first one.
You know, I didn't find it that hard at all because that's where it came like it was a separate film.
Yeah. But I have said like two films shot very differently from one another. It's not until you from Three from Hell, The Devil's Rejects to Three from Hell, where you kind of need to have it as an actual trilogy. Or not even an actual trilogy, but you do know that Three from Hell is a sequel because of how much
things aligned.
Things align. Like what would be the Otis? What would be the reason for Otis to look at Rondo and be like, I remember.
Right? I wonder what got him arrested.
Then he was a bounty hunter, and he could have attacked someone that wasn't on a bounty but looked similar to bounty.
That's fair.
I rather my movies show and not tell. Which could you imagine? The end of the thing, they tell you exactly who's simulated. Like, that would suck. Show us. Show us. Like, show us all these kills they supposedly make. Because I go from when the screen time begins to the end time. Mm-hmm. There's an off-screen kill. It better well be implied. It better well be Otis wearing another dead skin mask.
Didn't he do that in the one of those hunters, like the female? Didn't he cut her face off?
Cuts off her face, but he doesn't wear it for this film. He just cuts off her face, and I think her face is like kind of like nailed to a tree.
Oh, yeah.
But that is his wife. He's doing that too. So
Well, is that
That seems like it's the end. I'm probably going to be on tomorrow, playing. Well, no, I do not imagine this will be coming out on next Tuesday. But Austin and I have to go take some pictures for our posters. So we have to go do that right away.
my hair's going to be great for it?
But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. Happy that Irish Bandit Rob is here, because I'm honestly thinking of making him a mod for this channel.
I don't even know what that means.
Since he's kind of been on for every podcast.
He has.
People come on, and if they're giving me a hard time in the comments, he can silence them, so we don't have to silence them.
Ooh, I like that.
He can basically do what Kaylee's doing right now, and kind of feeding us information. I find that Rob is a other horror freak, which we do need more of. So this should be released on our Patreon. It'll be released without edit. That's what you get on the Patreon, is our videos unedited. What else you get is the ability to come and talk to us. I'm gonna plan doing that once a month. That our most loyal fans on Patreon, who pay like $25 for us, can actually come and have a Discord call with us. Get to hear our takes of other stuff. The one-on-one conversation for like 30 minutes. That will be hopefully later on when we get a little bit more traction behind us.
Mm-hmm.
The next big event for us, because we haven't really been having these events yet, and you'll all be able to see this as I tell Austin to post this on our
Fuck, I keep forgetting to do that. I gotta remember.
post this on our Instagram, post this on our whatever is going to be our trip to Broadway for our Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie we are watching. That got swapped over, so we have a new one. But it has become the time that we have to go. So before we go, we just want to raid out to someone. So let's see who is on for Twitch. Yeah.
Have a good one, gents.
You too, brother.
You too. Hopefully next time you're on, you will see that you are been made a mod, my friend. Anyways, guys, we'll see you guys later.